This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
Moving on to Christ, it feels like forever, doesn't it? How many bloody international breaks have there been? So Hull City at home, you mentioned still our home record is still, very much the envy of many clubs. So how do you see it going? And I haven't really, obviously we're recording this a couple of days before the press conference. I don't really know where we are with injuries, but assuming that the players that were out remain out, how do you see it playing out just from a selection point of view?
I think it'll be a very similar team to the one that started against Wrexham. I don't think he'll change much just because the second half was an improvement. The only one for me, despite what you've been waxing lyrical about him, the only one that I think might swap out is possibly Leonard. And I think Doyle for me, like I said before, the strange thing for me was he put so much emphasis on when he subbed Roberts and Doyle in the Sheffield Wednesday game, and the fans you could see and hear were actively against that decision. He justified it by saying we've got to think about Friday when we make these decisions, and then he didn't start him. So it felt a bit odd. So I think he definitely deserves a start because he's another one who hasn't done anything wrong and hasn't been given a chance to show what he can do. So for me, on the basis that all the players that are out are still out, that would probably be my only change, I think. I don't think there's any point taking Beadle out because he didn't do anything wrong, and you set in a bad standard then if you drop him again for whatever reason. And what are you trying to teach Allsop by dropping him for one game? So, you need to stick with Beadle. So, I wouldn't change much. The only thing that changes if anybody suddenly becomes available that's fit, and then it adds a different dynamic perhaps. But, that would be my 11, just the same, minus that one change.
Yeah, and I think he's been searching for. I think we all have been searching for something positive over a relatively sustained period of time, and I think that 45 minutes we started to get that. The only criticism at times I've got about the manager, but every manager's the same. Apart from Mowbray was different. I loved his post-match interviews because he was honest. If we were shit in certain areas, he'd call it.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes, like the Sheffield Wednesday game, I just couldn't watch the whole post-match interview because it's just nonsense.
Yeah.
We weren't at the races. We weren't at the races. Accept it. Say it. We'll be better next game. We were better next game. Yeah. We don't need the bullshit because we can see through it. And I think that now we've got that 45 minutes of just something where it just felt different, a bit more dynamic, a bit more of the style of football that I think is going to win us games in this division. And it is a little bit bolder and a bit braver, and hopefully playing to, those players that we've signed, their strengths, and the ones that we've had that we've retained that have got a bit of something about them. So I'm with you, and I'm hey, as long as it is either Leonard or Doyle, I'm not really bothered who plays, to be honest. I think, as I said, it's a 50-50 call for me. But as long as one of them does, I think we'll be better off for it. I think the fact that he's obviously, whether you get your wish and, Newman comes in and Robinson goes out, don't know. He ain't going to change the keeper because that would be madness. It's about confidence, isn't it? And But again, I don't know. I don't think the Samuel injury was overly long term.
No, I don't think it was.
But again, I think he'll probably resist that and stay with what he's got with Iwata, which I'm definitely here for. So prediction then. So we're pretty much exactly the same points, separated by we've both got pretty crap goal difference. I suppose for me, we're at home, which maybe sort of gives us the edge. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it should do, and it has done so often. It's either been the reason we've succeeded, or it's the reason that we haven't failed. Like the Sheffield Wednesday was we haven't failed in the end. You could argue we maybe did by not winning it, but at least we didn't lose it. I think there's enough there at home to get the job done. when I look at Hull, they're a team that equally score and concede, and I know we've conceded a few in the last sort of handful of games, but generally that's sort of the similar, like the opposite to how we've normally run, isn't it? We don't score many, but we also don't always concede many. You know, our wins and losses tend to be by a goal either way.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be something similar, and I could see us a 2-1. I don't think we just don't seem to be completely capable of clean sheets at the minute. Probably just because of we got used to them last year. We've stepped up a level, haven't we? So you're not going to get however many 17, 18 clean sheets, whatever Allsop got last season. That you just rule that out straight away.
Yeah.
So I think 2-1, and I think we could be happy with that. It just depends on the attitude and how they start, and if they're able to see that through and just be a little bit more consistent for a whole 90 minutes. That's the thing I'm most apprehensive about, because I don't think, apart from Ipswich, and that really was a showcase of we've got the ability to play good football for 90 minutes, but we haven't seen it since, I don't think, for a whole game. So that's what I'm hoping for. And if we can do that, then I think we can beat them. Yeah, they're not a team that I'd look at the start of the season and be overly fearful of anyway, especially at home.
Yeah, I think my only slight worry is we do now have quite a few international players. Don't know how many of those have figured and for how long, but if for nothing else, it's the travelling, it's just all the stuff that, you know, it's all in the fine margins, isn't it? And it's certainly not going to help that they've been travelling around the world playing football. So that'd be my only. So that's why it'd be, if there was no international break and it would be like a week after the Wrexham game, I'd be all over us. I think that carrying that momentum of a second half into this game, I think would make it feel pretty confident about it. I don't like it in this league again because it's so tight. A couple of wins make such a massive difference, and we draw in a lot of games. But I looked at the fixtures up until now, and maybe with the exception of Sheff Wednesday, I think we probably perform the way that, if you're being level-headed, we're probably whereabouts we probably thought we would be.
Yeah.
And you look at Hull at home, based on certainly last season, a little bit better this season, you probably earmark this as a 3-pointer. So I'm not going to probably change my view on that. I'd love us to keep a clean sheet, but I'm with you, probably not. And without wishing to sound unoriginal, I think 2-1's probably going to be, if we do win, I think that's probably where it's going to be at. And I hope that is the case, because for the players and the manager, I don't like this. It was a bit of a witch hunt with the manager, and I just don't get it. I really don't get it. I've been a critic of him because he can be just so pragmatic, so risk averse. But at least he's actually done something about it. Now, he hasn't come off, but you can't criticise the bloke for wanting to change it and changing it. So it just needs to be time, and I just hope that the owners will just take a little bit of a step back and just, it's a long old season. And like I said, we string, whenever it may be, 3 wins and a draw together. It looks totally different, and we're capable of doing it. It's just we're in one of those. I think we're out the other side of it now. But you don't really want to put too much on 45 minutes of football, but just felt a little bit different that for me. So hopefully we can bring that in.
The problem that you have with anything now, not just football, is everybody wants like a quick conclusion. You know, they want good things to happen straight away, and if something bad's going to happen, they want it to happen straight away. And it's a knee-jerk reaction that you see throughout football in particular, where as soon as a manager maybe loses 3 games, who is the manager out there that can do better than that? And I've been having conversations, and I think the problem people have is it's not so much that he's not willing to change the players, it's just that he's not always willing to change the way that we play. So he might pick a different starting 11, but those players are going to likely play the same way as the previous starting 11 and the starting 11 before that. And that might sometimes mean, like you said about the right winger having to play more in field, there's nothing I dislike more about this current Blues team that when Damari Gray gets played as the right winger but ends up in the middle of the pitch, completely out of the game.
Yeah.
So in that instance, this is what I mean with Davis. If you have decided that you're going to play Damari Gray, get him out wide, change
Yeah.
the way that you do things slightly, stop your right back going too far forward, and let him do the running. Like you said before, if you have to, keep your 4 defenders on the halfway line and let the rest of the players play the football that they're capable of doing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we need to be that negative, but if he's worried about it, if he's worried about overcommitting, do that. Cochrane doesn't get forward, and if he does, he's going to play. He's going to put a cross into the box from 40 yards out on the angle, and he does that well. So that's fine. Every now and again, step forward and do that. But just if you have to put somebody on a different side or play them in a different way, don't isolate them out of the game entirely. So it's about plan B is the phrase, isn't it? Like people I think are frustrated that there isn't an obvious plan B, and we're going to keep doing plan A, and if plan A doesn't work, we're going to do plan A with a different few players, and if that doesn't work, we're going to bring on another couple of players, and if that still isn't working, we're just going to get all of the attacking players we've got on the bench and just put everyone forward for the last 10 minutes, and hopefully something will happen. And that has worked a few times, but I don't think it always needs to come to that. So, but again, like we said, he's what, 16 months into the job as a football manager, so you'd like to think these are things that maybe a bad run of form like we've had, that might then open his eyes a little bit, and perhaps that Sheffield Wednesday result in particular might be something that we can look back on and go, I think that was the point when he realised he can't just always do it the same way, because teams can, like championship teams, are going to find a way to figure out how to stop you doing what you do, aren't they?
Yeah.
So you have to be prepared to do something different, and I think that's the main criticism that he gets. But I'm on the same camp as you. I don't think getting rid of him is the right thing to do. Because I can't see an obvious candidate out there that is going to play the football that the board wants us to play and do a better job than what we're currently doing, and a realistic manager as well, before people start spouting out people who are available that are never going to come to us. So you have to take that into consideration. You also have to factor in the fact that when we were doing well 2 years ago, they made the decision to sack the manager for a different style of football, and we got relegated because of it. So the board I don't necessarily going to jump the gun quite as quickly as they did last time. I think they will give him a lot more time to prove that he is either capable of doing the job or showing signs of being able to do it.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to pull the trigger anytime soon. And that might disappoint some people. But as I say, it's the quick nature of people wanting immediate gratification, isn't it? And they want results now. And we've signed all these players, so we should be top of the league. It just doesn't work like that. And half of our squad that we signed last season haven't played in the Championship, especially some of the guys that have come from abroad. So how do we actually even know that they are good enough to be in the Championship?
No.
We don't really, do we? Because they've not been tested. So it's not as easy as it looks on paper, and we should know that because we've been in the Championship long enough to know that it's not that straightforward. So yeah, give him time, but I need to see that he's able to adapt and get results when we need to, even if that means being horrible to play against, or if it means we're just going for it and we win 4-3 instead of drawing 0-0 or 1-1, just something a bit different every now and again.
Yeah, and just on that last bit, I mean, you look at Rowett, you look at other managers that have been quite attritional. Bruce wasn't, that wasn't exactly free flowing football.
Eustace,
but it was Eustace was grinding it, and those three managers were actually relatively successful in their own right. So
yeah,
I just think it's a transition for us. And that I actually loved the way we played when Mowbray was manager. I thought that gave us a really good balance, and it just wasn't meant to be. But we move on. Right, that's probably about double the length of time we said it was going to be. So nothing changes. Good to be back. So thank you very much for your time, Sam. And I've enjoyed that. It's good to just vent a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, we're back. We're back.
And I think going forward for everybody listening, as ever, please like, subscribe, leave your comments. And on the comments front, we want to be a bit more interactive from now to the end of the season. So we'll be asking for your suggestions on what we should be talking about. And we'll be a lot more regular with and consistent with the schedule. So you'll sort of know roughly when we're going to be on sort of pre and post matches. If you enjoy what we do, then hopefully you'll hunt us down and see what we've got to say for ourselves. But between now and then, Yeah, let's look forward to the game on Saturday and keep right on.